How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffle Rowlett, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon rumors, leaks, and all that kind of stuff. But let's get started with the first thing today, which is going to be right over here. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a post that was made over on Yuzu, which is really weird. It's on the Reddit of Yuzu, but it basically said, like, Nintendo Direct leak, and that's literally it. It was from Sir Conte78. This person's been around since 2022. They have 2,528 post-karmas. So they haven't really posted, I guess, obscene amount of stuff, but they have posted stuff, okay? And the actual post here is really weird. So I thought we'd take a look at it because it does mention Pokemon in it. So I thought we'd take a look and see what is going on here, because I think it mentions Pokemon. At least that's what somebody said, but I could be mistaken. But basically, let's read through it. It, again, is a Nintendo Direct thingy. So let's see what it has to talk about. So first things first, it just says 18/4. So that would imply, I guess, April or 18th of April, I guess is what this is trying to say, that it's going to be 2024, and this is going to be the different segments for the Nintendo Direct. And I'm going to be honest, the actual slide here, like we open up the image itself, is pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a pretty solid image. Like, whoever did this, hey, at least they put some effort into it. Now, the actual information on it, though, is as follows. It says segment. So it says Hyrule Warriors, the imprisoning war, which does sound like something they would do. Another Hyrule Warriors game. Like, sure, those are... I don't know if they sell that well, but clearly they must sell something to be, like, you know, worthwhile to kind of do again, I guess. It's one of those, you know what I mean? However, the next thing, though, is Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD, which, okay, doesn't sound that crazy to me. Monster Hunter Stories, fair enough. Endless Ocean Luminous, I think that is just, like, I guess this is just the stuff that, like, they always re-announce it, and then they give release dates for stuff that doesn't have release dates, and they just kind of re-mention things, right? But yeah, Endless Ocean Luminous, cool. Epic Mickey Rebrushed, like we know that one was announced recently, so we know about that one. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, May 23rd, 2024. Okay, segment next up is Fire Emblem Echoes, Scars of Jogdrol. No idea if that actually makes sense, because again, it is, you know, Fire Emblem, so not really my cup of tea. I don't really know much about it. You know, it's just not my realm. However, this one is where people are like, this is not happening. It's because of the Animal Crossing New Leaf HD, because people don't think there's going to be a New Leaf HD version ever, so I don't know about that, but November 7th is what they're saying. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, 2024, Deca Police, and then A Little Kitty, Big City, and Biomutant. Now, Biomutant is a game which is really weird to include here, because I think that game kind of fell off. Like, I think that game didn't really do that well, so I don't know if they would be willing to, like, invest time into porting it to the Switch. However, they next have Super Mario Party 2, which I guess would be a new one, and then headlines, Super Mario Galaxy plus Super Mario Galaxy 2. Oh, that's my dream, okay? I loved Super Mario Galaxy as a kid, and I'd love to see it return. Then Scale Wave Unbound, okay? Call of Duty Black Ops Collection. I guess that would be... Wait, that would be really weird. I would like that because Black Ops 2 is the best one, like, ever. Like, I love Black Ops 2, so I'd love for that to return, but I doubt that would do that. It's like, I don't know. I doubt they do that, but again, if this is real, that would be actually based. However, moving on. They say Braid Anniversary Edition, and then Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, right? So June 27th. So again, a lot of this stuff could already be stuff that is already announced, but it's just going to get a kind of an announcement for release dates and stuff like that. But then this final segment, and that's the wildest one to me, this one that gets me excited, it says Metroid Samus Returns HD, okay? Metroid Prime 2 Echoes plus Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. So I guess this would be basically a sort of remaster, re-release, whatever you want to call it. And then the final one, Metroid Prime 4 Extinction. Now, this is the big game that has been talked about in the background. Like, a lot of people have talked about Metroid Prime actually returning or making a return of sorts. This could be it. This literally could be it. So I am excited about the prospects of this. Now, the thing about this post is... when I was reading it, something didn't really stand out to me. I think some people literally instantly said oh, it's fake. If you look at Pokemon stuff here, people's questions about Pokemon. Somebody said here, not even anything about Legends ZA doesn't seem legit. And then somebody says Pokemon news usually get their own direct. It's not common to see them in Nintendo Directs, which isn't actually true. They do presents, but Pokemon presents usually happen, and this is where the Pokemon relationship comes in. This makes me feel like it's less likely to be real. Like, a lot of people are calling it fake, and again, highly possible it is fake. But the reason I have an inkling of a feeling that it could be real is because like this kind of fits the time frame, right? The April 18th seems like a good time to announce stuff leading into the summer, because a lot of these games, if you look at it, if these release dates are actually real or whatever, would be happening in June and July, right? Like a lot of June, July, May as well, like a lot of May here. And you'd want to have people ready to to know these games are coming out so they can pre-order them, buy them, etc., spend cash, money flow. You know what I mean? Like you need people to invest already into these things early on. So also for Pokemon, by the way, what I want to say about Pokemon showing up in Nintendo Direct, and this is the most important part. Pokemon in Nintendo Direct is always possible. We actually had a Nintendo Direct in, I think, June or July of last year, where they actually showed us gameplay for the DLC before they even did it in a Pokemon Presents. They showed us a bunch of stuff in there, and nobody expected it. It was super unexpected. Like, I did not expect that when I was watching the Direct. I was like, hello? What just happened? This is so out of the blue. So what I'm trying to say is that there's always a chance, okay? Please remember, there's always a chance that could happen, and we could get Pokemon. So I'm curious because this was only the first page here out of 27 out of 60 from this person. So again, it is a rumor. Take it as such. However, one official thing we know about Pokemon is that the next saga of the Pokemon anime in Japan has been announced. Pokemon Terrestrial debut. Yes, so Liko and the friends, they're going to Paldea. As we can see from the image, they're actually going to be going over there and having a good old time. They're going to be meeting up with all the characters, Kate, Brassius, etc., Iono, so on and so forth. Even Mona's going to be finally showing up and making her debut. So that's going to be sick. So yes, a lot of characters from the anime will finally be connecting to Paldea. We're going to also see, her evolve her Sprigatito into a Floragato. And yeah, we're going to just be seeing Paldea basically in anime form, which makes me wonder, because Paldea could last for a while if they do it like this. Like, if they're going to, have this arc run for a while, this could run for quite a bit of time. Like, unless, they're, because I don't know what their plans are, if they're going to pull, a Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Where every few seasons they're gonna switch out the character and they're gonna kind of reset it, and it's gonna stop being Pokemon Horizon, it's gonna become something else. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh GX, Yu-Gi-Oh whatever the hell they're called, like 5D or something. My point is, maybe that's gonna happen. Who knows? It's all just up in the air for now. So that's one of the first things. So I just wanted to mention this because I think it's pretty cool. And yeah, I don't know. It is pretty interesting. It's really strange, but nonetheless, I'm glad to see that's happening. Next up, though, is a bit of an interesting thing. So you all know that we talked about Cardinal and his 3D art and stuff. And actually recently, one of his posts, and you guys may know that post, actually went viral on TikTok for whatever reason. Now, I'm not a TikTok person, but I love looking at his artworks and I love looking at his concepts. And one of the ones he covered actually recently literally just exploded, right, in popularity. And I thought we'd take a look at it because I think it's actually really cool. And it's one where he basically made a concept art for what the actual world could look like in Pokemon, in literally Pokemon Legends ZA, like what the actual world could look like. And we already took a look at this fella right here, Mega Charizard Z. We already looked at that one, but there's also this right here. So this image literally went viral because it's a concept art for what we could expect for the actual style, maybe, if they were to go down this path of what a Pokemon Legends ZA game could look like, if it was to basically do the style of a kind of cyberpunky game, which, again, I think this game, because we know for a fact it's going to be set only in Lumiose, because that's literally what that's what Nintendo says, that's what Pokemon says, that's what every official source has said. This is officially said. It's going to be only set in Lumiose, and I know some people are like, oh, no, bro, it's not going to be the case. I'm going to listen to the official sources that are telling it officially. Like, literally, the people that are making the game are telling us that. So I'm going to listen to what they said instead of just random people's opinions on it. But nonetheless, I think it's a cool concept art. But he also made a really cool little design for a Mega FLYGON. Because again, Mega FLYGON is one that I think most people want. So just thought it'd be cool to share this one with you guys. And then move on to something a little bit more interesting. So this is a very long video. You're going to have to sit here for a while. But we're going to be going through something that's been posted about Pokemon, which is from the former, so no longer, former Pokemon Company Chief Legal Officer. So Chief Legal Officer would be somebody at the top of the legal department. So legal department, people who handle anything legally concerning, right? Any lawsuits coming in towards Pokemon, any lawsuits Pokemon has to send out, any legal things they have to know or make sure that they abide by. Like, I don't know, if Pokemon makes a product and it has something, bad in it, they got to make sure that bad thing is handled, or else they will get into legal trouble. So the officer, the top guy, okay? discusses why they take action against fan projects. And this is actually a really cool post because it kind of gives you an idea of how Pokemon operates when it comes to fan projects. And what they say here is that the basically former Pokemon Chief Legal Officer discusses when they take action against fan projects. Much like Nintendo, the Pokemon Company has a reputation for being litigious against Pokemon fan projects, with some of their more famous takedowns being against the biggest fan games such as Pokemon Uranium and Pokemon Prism. In an interview with Aftermath, former Pokemon Company Chief Legal Officer Don McGowan revealed a little bit of the company's process when it comes to handling fan games. According to McGowan, a fan game would typically attract their attention through news articles written about the project. So yes, the more attention it gets, the worse. Although, a takedown won't happen until the fan game starts getting funded through Kickstarter or some other means. However, the next part, Aftermath. So they ask him, I guess the article, like the people of Aftermath on this actual website here, they ask him, some questions. Say, how does the Pokemon Company handle cease and desist letters with regards to fan projects? How did you find them? And where did you draw the line on what's allowed and what the company thinks needs to be shut down? And then McGowan, the actual legal chief officer, literally says, short answer, thanks to you folks. I would be sitting in my office minding my own business when someone from the company would send me a link to a news article, or I would stumble across it myself. I teach entertainment law at the University of Washington and say this to my students. The worst thing on earth when your fan project gets press, because now I know about it. But that's not the end of the equation. You don't just send a takedown right away. You wait to see if they get funded for a Kickstarter or similar. If they get funded, then that's when you engage. No one likes suing fans. Based on McGowan's accounts, it seems profiting off of fan games is a major sticking point that prompts the Pokemon Company to send cease and desist orders. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. So this makes sense. I think I even left an actual comment here saying, like, I think it tracks and makes sense. Like, it makes total sense that would be the case. Like, just think about it. Why would they take down fan projects, which are just keeping people invested in their product and, invested in Pokemon itself, if that thing is not making any money anyways? Like, it doesn't matter. The moment people try to make money off of the Pokemon brand, that's when they have a problem with it. Now, sometimes they will go out of their way and be a bit, douchey about it. Like, they will be a little bit annoying about it and take down projects that aren't even profiting. I don't think Uranium ever profited off of the project. I don't think they even had a donation link to support them or anything. It was just a fully fan-made project. But again, too much attention to the point that attention can take away from Pokemon's own stuff and cause them, monetary, losses, so to say. But I think most fan games should be fine, and there shouldn't be really any concern about those. But that's just a little bit of a thing. But now we're going to move on to something a little bit different. So, there was a post made by Riddler Coup. Now, I know most of you guys don't care about Riddler Coup anymore. I think most of you have just given up ever since there was no reveal of Black and White, because people thought that's what he was hinting at. But he made a post which was very funny to me. So, first of all, is this post right here. Now, at the bottom here, this character is talking, and what he says is basically the following. I'm going to zoom in here to show you guys exactly what they're talking about. So, he says, apparently, all 5 of these buildings are owned by a real estate firm called Paldea Realty. And you guys can see the text right here is the name of this company that makes the actual realty stuff. And if we look at the same logos up here from the Legends ZA trailer, it's the exact same text. So it seems to be the same company. However, remember, this is the Pokemon language. And the issue with the Pokemon language is it's not consistent, okay? The Pokemon language isn't consistent. It changes all the time. It literally is random, okay? However, there should be a note taken. There is no point, I feel like, where they wouldn't take this text and apply it more logically. Like, why would they take this specific one from here and apply it in the same way here? Now, of course, somebody could say it's like the lorem ipsum or whatever it's called. Basically, it's like the default text, right? Like the default text they use. It could be that. Like, how when you make like a new website, the standard text when you make a new website is hello world, right? It's like the first thing you write out to test if the website works. That's like a standard prompt. And basically, this could be the same thing here. This could be the same thing. However, it is a bit odd that this location does have this exact same text. And these buildings, all 5 of these buildings, and I think this is in Levincia City, where you battle Iono, it is a bit odd that the buildings are all owned. And the guy mentions a real estate firm called Paldean Realty. And again, it all is even weirder when you take into account and consider the fact that we're getting a game that's all about Lumios, a city, a literal city. Like, we're getting a whole thing about that, which is on just an extra level of confusion, okay? So what I'm trying to say is there is a chance this could be connected, and this company, Paldean Realty, may be the connection that's going to exist between Legends EA and Paldea, right? Like the actual connection that will exist there will be those two. And then Ku also made this post afterwards showing like another location where we see this exact same text. And here it's maybe the same company again, but these guys are producing seemingly laptops, some form of laptop, as you can see. And that's not the end of it. There's also here at the entrance, and I think this is in... I could be mistaken here, but I think this is from Sword and Shield. And I think this other image was also from Sword and Shield. Again, could be mistaken. Please feel free to correct me. But basically, it is really weird because it shows up here as well. And then Ku replied to someone because somebody said, hey, so it's just random text that devs can put anywhere means nothing. And he replied with a image of that text showing up again over here, which is, again, really, really weird. Again, it doesn't really say much, and I kind of agree with the person here. It doesn't really tell us much, and the original person who actually found this was somebody on Twitter, or Reddit, sorry, on Reddit, who figured this out or found this actual, location with the stuff, and the whole character saying the information, apparently these 5 buildings. But again, I think it's interesting to theorize, mostly not because of the actual text that's being mentioned here, but rather what the character says. Now, the Pokemon language, like we mentioned, literally is wacky. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's not an actual... spoken language in Pokemon. It's not a real language that has an actual correlation. It's not like Elvish or something from Lord of the Rings, which you can literally interpret, or Klingon from freaking, It's not like one of those languages that actually people have made into a real thing. It's rather just a made-up, text, which doesn't mean anything. But I think it's still interesting to bring it up because, again, it does add this possibility that it could be connected. And even here, you can see it on this board of a location that's, you're going to be going to. So it could be that that's pointing towards Lumio City, right? That could be what it's trying to say. But again, I digress. It's all just for fun anyways, so we'll see how that turns out. However, interestingly, there seems to have been a few hints that were figured out early on. So Somer actually said, wait, now the X and Y have confirmed, crazy news, isn't it? This is a fan theory that gets me, in my opinion, much more sense. Could it be that they are going to relate both Terrestrial and Mega Evolution lore together? Now, the reason he says this is because he had a theory, and this he posted on the 18th of December last year. So this is before Legends ZA was even shown off, and he said, small theory time, I realized that according to lore, Paldea has been investing money in research for terrestrialization for nearly 10 years. Well, guess which phenomenon was canonically discovered 10 years ago? Want to hear your thoughts. And yes, it's interesting because, if they've been researching it for 10 years, you can definitely make the connection to Megas there. And I do think the Mega connection goes even further than that, because I'm going to connect something else that actually was discovered. This was discovered by Kuro Blitz here. So Kuro basically looked at one of the Pokedex entries for Roaring Moon, of all things. And if you guys remember, Roaring Moon is, or I guess Salamence, is one of the Pokemon that does have a Mega, and its Mega looks oddly similar to Roaring Moon. And the actual text here from its Pokedex entry says, according to an article in a dubious magazine, so that's a bit sketchy, but a dubious magazine, this Pokemon has some connections to a phenomenon that occurs in a certain region. So directly connecting to that, man, which is really, 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 really funny, which makes you wonder, hey, was the top part of the map here? Was this always meant to be this? Was this the hint? Was this what we're always looking at, guys? I don't know. I digress. It's just fun to mention. But that's pretty much where I'm at with regards to that. And as we saw here from Kayla, who said this is a must-watch video in preparation, and I think she made a video here, which I think this might be her video. I think it is, Kayla's video. So definitely go give it a watch. And just literally watch it. It was from 4 months ago. It kind of goes into some of the stuff about the regions and all the connections and stuff. So definitely go give it a watch. But again, really, really interesting. Important takeaway from the video. Not all Pokemon can even get Megas with the current lore, which is fair. Very fair. But it's interesting that they literally had paradoxes that are connected. So I wonder if perhaps, because we have Roaring Moon being a paradox, would it be possible that some Pokemon that did have paradox forms might also get Megas? Which would be pretty lame in my opinion, because I don't want to see those Pokemon get even more love. They've already gotten enough. I don't want to see, Donphan getting another form. Or a Mega Evolution. That seems a little bit unnecessary. But again, I think it's fun to mention. I don't know. It's kind of intriguing. It's kind of an interesting one. So, next up, though, let's talk about the Legends ZA logo. So, you guys already know that Legends ZA has the whole Z and A in it, right? The question is, what is the A for? Is it for the ultimate weapon? Is it just for AZ himself? Is it for a new legendary? Well, this is a fan art here from Bulby Boy, and Soul said, "This is amazing. I'm very down for this. The perfect balance of Xerneas and Yveltal while still keeping the originality." What they're talking about here is basically a Pokemon that would be the new version, right? The new legendary in ZA. Now, this is my speculation about what the A from Legends ZA means. I call her Aldrasil. Now, Aldrasil is an obvious inspiration here. It's Yggdrasil, the tree from Norse mythology. But I thought about two lores for her, I guess, for her, depending on if the game will be set on the past or the future. And you guys can see the actual concept art from Bulby Boy here, which looks freaking sick. Saying on the past version of the lore, Aldrasil would be the mother and ancestor of Xerneas and Yveltal, representing the full circle of life and death. Maybe, during the Kalos War, she was trapped inside the ultimate weapon by the king. This ends up splitting her into two parts. And then here's the turntable 3D version of it, which, again, sick, beautiful, amazing art, seriously fantastic work. But yeah, and saying here that on the future version of the lore, Aldrasil is an artificial living being created by humans using the energy from the cocoon of destruction in the Tree of Life. In this version, Aldrasil will be trapped inside of Illumiosa's tower to generate power for the city. Which again, cool concept. No matter what way you look at it, cool concept. And again, we still do not know what the A is going to be standing for. We won't know until they actually give us another trailer or until we play these games. But I think it's nonetheless, though, a fun thing to bring up. Moving on to the next thing, though, we're going to talk about this right here. Now, this is a post from Kayla, again, and again, you should definitely check out Kayla's channel, but Ku basically made this post where he was saying, like, hey, you know, these are all, like, you know, different mythicals, and this is the games they showed up in, but then there's Victini and Genesect that are missing as to be decided. You know, the TBD ones. Now, Kayla says, if someone travels across universes using Hoopa's rings, they don't lose their memories. Blueprint in Legends ZA trailer could be referencing a new gameplay feature where player and characters from modern time to past via Hoopa use memories of modern Lumios to help build it. Now, I'm not sure exactly how this connects to Ku's post here, because the Pokemon that are mentioned is Genesect and Victini. Now, Victini is one that you can kind of place anywhere, past or future. Genesect, though, does feel more like a futuristic Pokemon, right? It is a more futuristic Pokemon in design and everything. So it would be interesting if we time traveled and those two mythicals are, you know, one is only found in the past, like Victini, and Genesect is only found in the future. That to me sounds like a more intriguing part. And honestly, Hoopa's portals being used as a way to kind of send us from modern time to past wouldn't be that crazy to me. And I know people say, like, oh, it literally takes you to another universe, but hey, they can change the lore on that. They can change it and do whatever they want with it. You know what I mean? They can do whatever they want with it. It's not an impossibility. Moving on, though, we have this post right here from Eclipse who says, the outer blocks are all houses. Plenty seem visitable, sorry. In the original games, there was already a lot of points of interest, so I expect a lot more in Legends ZA. Now, he's talking about the actual map of Lumios, if you take a look at it, and you take a look at the actual, like, one that we have right here. So, if you look at the actual map here, the thing you'll notice about Lumios is, it is a big city, okay? It's one of the biggest cities in Pokemon. One of the things you'll notice is, like, the circles used to be these plazas, right? Like, these open spaces you would go to, and whatnot. And you had specifically a lot of things here, like the magenta one, the rouge one, the jaune one, the vert, and the bleu, you know, the bleu plaza. And then, of course, if you look around the actual map, you have a lot of stuff here. You have, literally, if we just try to, like, go through all of it, it's so many. I have to, like, I'm going to start from the bottom here. So, Route 4 is down here in this direction. There's office buildings, Cafe Introversion, Restaurant Lena. You have, like, the South Boulevard, so you'll take that whole path. You can go up here towards, like, the, you know, the Vert Plaza, where Cafe Cyclone is. If we go further up here, move the camera back up. If we go to Lumio Station is literally up here. Battle Institute is there. Route 16 to Dendemil Town is there too. Cafe Batil is also in that direction. Further up that route, you will find Cafe Action, Cafe Ultimo, Office Building, Hotel Rashimi. Again, so many. Lumios Museum. They can do a lot of lore stuff there. Literally have us do a bunch of quests. Continue all around. You'll get another office building. Then the Galette Stand or Jalette Stand. I don't know how you say it. Further down this route, you will find Cafe Trist, which is there. Office building again. Route 13 towards Coumarine City. Continuing down the road, you'll get more office buildings. The Shutterbug Cafe, Cafe Soleil, the Kerfer Clips down here too. And then you're on the South Boulevard, and then Route 5 is in this direction. And then the PR, I guess PR Studios is down here, which you guys can't see, but it's PR Studios and Sycamore's Lab. So those two are down here. And then the South Pokemon Center. Heading up straight through this route, you'll get the Stone Emporium, the Herboristerie, the Boutique Couture, the Friseur Furfro, Cafe Classy, Cafe Woof. And then Vert Plaza, Blue Plaza. You also have the Centrico Plaza, which is in the middle with the photo spots. And, of course, Prism Tower, Lumio City Gym, of course, and whatnot. So, again, you have a lot of space, man. A lot of space. Like, genuinely so much space to work with. It's kind of nuts if you think about it. The Cafe Ami, Pokemon Ami up here, Lysander's Cafe, the Juice Shop, the Pokeball Boutique, the Vacant Storefront, the Sushi High Roller, Restaurant Wow, Restaurant Lié. Again, a lot of these places can now be repurposed. And a lot of this space that's empty here, like notice these areas, like if we compare the map now, this is the part I wanted to do, right? Compare these two maps. Now, let's look at this. If we zoom in, and we kind of try to like put these maps above each other. Now, look at this. When we look at this normally, notice how these areas where it's kind of like gray, well, that's all buildings that you can't do anything with. They're just kind of empty, right? Now, imagine if all those buildings were enterable. Like, see how they actually made sure, there's these main routes, right? Like, look at this. This main route goes straight up. But notice something interesting. You know how we have the boulevards on the edges here? Well, that boulevard is a little bit different now. It looks more like a wall on the edges here. It looks more like walls that are kind of breaking it in. There's a little bit of a strange, like there's a line here you can kind of follow that takes you around that looks kind of like the boulevard, but you can tell that it looks different, more thin than it did before. And all these areas that normally would be gray on this map, like look how they're gray here. Now, all of these are individual little paths and houses. Like there's so many little like twisting, turning points. And this is what I mean with the map, that they can do so much with this map. They can expand this and make so much happen in this one city that they weren't able to do in the previous one. Also, if you look at the plazas, all these plazas look the same. It's just a Pokeball shape that's like, you know, kind of rotated on angle, different angles, right? It all looks the same. However, if you look at these, they all have different shapes in them. Like here, it's literally just a Pokeball design. Here, it looks like a little tiny house in the middle, but everything else is empty. Here, it's a weird, like almost crosshair design. Here, it looks like a upside down bug of sorts. Up there, it looks like rocks surrounding a little building on top of another rock in the middle. Again, it doesn't look anything like what this looks like. So it's going to be different. It's going to be larger. Like literally, if you look around here, there's a whole open space here. There's a little arena right there. There's literally a Pokemon arena right here. You can see right there is a Pokemon arena. On top of that, you have another arena-looking space here, right there. You have another arena down here. So again, these spaces, I don't think these 5 spaces, I'll be real with you, I don't think these 5 spaces will actually be gyms or where we go to do gym battles or not even gym battles, but challenges. I think the challenges will take place in locations such as this one right here, which is literally looks like a stadium, and then this one right here, which also looks like a stadium. Again, this is not a one-to-one comparison. These two are not going to be one-to-one. People look like people, this is the thing. I'm going to be real. Some people are just stupid. Some people don't realize that they're not going to be making the Lumios you remember. They're making a whole new city, basically. It still has a bit of that shape, sure. It's going to have a lot of elements to it, but they're not remaking just the same exact Lumios. They're making a whole new Lumio city, which will have a way more amount of stuff. Sure, will there be references? Of course. Maybe you'll go to one of the shops and you'll find the juice shop, right? Or you go somewhere else and you find the photo spot from the original X and Y or whatever. But again, this is not literally Pokemon Z. This is a Legends game nonetheless, which means this game is going to be different. It's not going to be a one-to-one, just like how, Hisui is not a one-to-one to Sinnoh. They're very different. The map looks different. The locations, like, sure, it's still kind of Sinnoh, but everything is in different locations. You don't have all the cities the way they look normally in that game. What I'm trying to say is that it's not going to be a one-to-one game. And that's like the important part people need to remember. It isn't a one-to-one experience. And then I want to finish it off with a bit of an interesting topic, which is this right here. Now, according to Lutu, over on Twitter, apparently they've been documenting some cut content in Pokemon BDSP, and apparently there's several environments that go completely unused, with some that are only used in Platinum. You guys can see right here. This was never used. I don't know why. This looks like a sick background for battles, which makes no sense. And this one as well, sick background. Why don't we use this? I don't know. Apparently, the latter of these is coded to be used at the Celestic Ruins, but that battle only appears in Platinum. It's an indicator that they plan to have Platinum content in the game at some point. And guess what? they must have rushed it to get it out in time. They must have rushed it to get it out, and that's why they never included this, which really sucks, man, and it pisses me off because I wish, and this pretty much confirms that I think BDSP wasn't necessarily a bad game. I think it was a rushed game that couldn't have been made any better because they didn't have enough time to make it any better. I think ILCA was given basically 2 years, and that's literally what they were given. 2 years to make this game. 2 years. And that's way too little time to develop a fully fledged remake, I think. Because we got BDSP, and it is a remake, and it has its flaws. It's not perfect. Again, I think the biggest gripe for people is the fact that it's not platinum, and the fact that it doesn't include certain elements. Like, for example, it doesn't include the kind of like 3D models that we had in ORAS or X and Y, and that kind of art style, or the art style even from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. It kind of was a downgrade with the small characters that people didn't like. But the actual game itself, sure, it has bugs, but they're not like necessarily that game-breaking. Like, there are bugs, but like I didn't even run into that many myself. I had to intentionally look for them. There are a lot of bugs, okay? It's undeniable. There are a lot of bugs with the game, and they had a lot of bugs on launch. But to be honest, with a lot of the updates, they have kind of hashed out most of them, and they tried their best. Like, I give credit to ILCA. They tried, okay? They tried to fix it. However, the game is still not perfect, and that's because it's Diamond and Pearl. I personally think Diamond and Pearl are just not that good. I think Platinum was the definitive version and the better game, and it looks like they wanted to do that. They wanted to do it. Like, the fact that they have this in here, right? The fact that they have Platinum-related stuff means they wanted to do it, they just didn't have enough time. And I wonder if maybe at some point they had a planned DLC or update or something to add in all the Platinum stuff, or what they were going to do with that. I don't really know, or maybe they were going to do like a Platinum episode similar to like how ORAS had the Delta episode, which kind of like added more stuff and added extra story and, you know, finished up some story elements. I think maybe they were going to do that, but they didn't do it because a lot of stuff, again, it's literally the fact that BDSP didn't have Platinum. That's the biggest gripe for me. And again, the other thing, which is the chibi models. They could have definitely done better with that. But again, I think it's a thing they just kind of did because that's what Pokemon Company wanted. But this proves that they had stuff in the works that was going to be really cool. They just didn't commit to it. So it is what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the end of this video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. I know it's a bit of a long one, but still, hope you enjoyed it. I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace out, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.